the best study materials for JEE Mains. And we have with us again a very senior mentor from my classroom, Deepak Goyal sir. He's a chemistry mentor at my classroom, and also he is himself in BTech from IIT Delhi, secured 138 rank, and has done computer science engineering from IIT Delhi. And he knows, he's been there, done that. He's himself secured such a good rank in IIT JEE, so he knows, what it takes to secure a good rank in JEE Mains and JEE Advanced both. And he's been mentoring a lot of top ranks. He's even given ranks 2 in NEET, 16 in IIT JEE, and many more. So thank you so much, sir, for joining us today, taking out time to guide students on what is the best study material that they should follow and refer to in order to secure a respectable and good rank in JEE Mains.
Hi, everyone. Good to connect, and definitely looking forward to this session.
Yeah. So, sir, any opening remarks or any suggestions before we start with the questionnaire that we've prepared? We have a short list of questionnaires that usually come to us, and usually students, they ask us. So if there are any other questions that come up in the live chat, we'll take them up. So shall we begin, sir?
Yeah, please.
So the very first question that the team has compiled that usually comes to us is about what are the sources for best study material for JEE and online courses?
First of all, I'll stick to my answers based on the fact that we are almost at the fag end of the preparation cycle. Like in next few days, NTA should be declaring the final dates for the exams, and then students will be having a very limited time. And along with that, they have other commitments like pre-boards, board practicals, board exams, all those things also coming their way. So it is very important to channelize their energies properly during this time, and they should be able to make the best use of the time available to them. So I'll just go through things quickly, subject-wise. Like to begin with, for physics, I personally believe that getting too much deep into the theory would not make much of a sense now. Even like reading an NCERT would not be of much use beyond a certain point, because instead of that, focus on your class notes. You've already been to classes for all those years. Try to focus on that. Try to, like, whatever notes you've prepared, be it through online lectures, be through anything, do reading certain books, just go through them thoroughly, because you know that what exactly you know and what exactly you lack. And after that, try to split your preparation into different phases. First of all, always try to cover the old questions now. So the best study material should be right now for you is like JEE, last 40 years of JEE Mains or last 40 years of JEE Advanced, based on the paper that you're prioritizing right now. I think should be JEE Mains to begin with. And all those previous year questions give you a very deep insight, like how exactly you can basically envision that what exactly is going to come in the next year exam. Because as far as JEE Advanced is concerned, I've not seen too many new questions coming up in any exam in any year. Like even if certain questions which are completely new, fresh would come, I think that's a very small chunk of it. For that, we need not to worry about it now. So going through the previous year papers, you will be able to get a very good idea about what exactly IIT asked. And from an advanced perspective, also make sure that you know which IIT is setting up the paper, and try to go through the papers in the years when they have set up those papers, because the ideology almost remains the same. Mm-hmm. Then another important part is from a study material perspective, whatever study material you choose, even if it is as basic books as Pradeep, Dinesh, all these books, or all the foreign authors like Irodov, Proto, Bukotsa, whatever you choose, one thing you have to make sure now is there is no time for any unsolved practice. Unsolved practice has to be covered in your exams. Whatever exams you give, there you try to cover your unsolved practice. But whatever time you spend at home, it should be solved practice. But what you can do is give 3 to 4 minutes to a question. If you're able to solve it, good enough. If you're not able to solve it, try to go through the solution and try to understand the steps and try to see where you went wrong in those steps. Because at this time, at this point of time, it's very important to have a lot of things in your recent memory, something which you could relate to. Because in final exam, whatever you have done previously gets converted into marks. It's very difficult to solve questions on the fly.
Right.
एकदम जाके एग्जाम में पेपर नहीं सॉल्व होता, बहुत मुश्किल है. कहने की बात है, if anybody is saying that कि he was able to solve the paper on the fly, they are bluffing. Majority of the top students also, they have done so much of practice that when they attempt the final paper, almost 90 to 95% paper is seen to them. So it is like as if they're just going through the revision. That's it. That is why they're able to solve it that quickly with such great accuracy. Otherwise, it cannot happen. Otherwise, it cannot happen. Just cannot happen. So, 3 pointers. First of all, revise your notes. Second of all, attempt previous year questions. Third, only go for solved practice. And try to have as many points in your recent memory as possible.
So it is advisable that at this point, this is for +2 students, right? So who are in +2 right now, so that they should not take up any new book or any material right now, because it's not the time.
No point doing that, because taking up anything new, focusing on the weakness is not going to take you anywhere, to be honest. Okay. Now just focus on your strengths, try to be as thorough as possible with them so that they should be in your recent memory.
Right.
Whatever you know best, you should be able to convert it in the final exam.
Right. And if we have to advise students who are in 11th right now, or just
from 11th perspective, I think it's a bit different phase altogether. What they should be focusing at, they should try to revise their entire syllabus by January, so that they should be able to give their school exams in February. And whatever hardcore practice from competition perspective is required, they can push it to February and even to the month of March also. Because even if the 12th classes will begin in March, it will take certain time to warm up. Initial few days are pretty light, so you'll have ample time to practice. Okay. So now just try to finish your syllabus, try to remember all the important points, key points. With the 11th, you can experiment a bit. Maybe you can, for chemistry, you can go for this Balaji publication practice, N. Avasthi, Manju Pandey, and for inorganic, you can try K. Kumar. It's a very good book instead of, I think the other one from Balaji, you can actually try K. Kumar. From physics perspective, Engage is also good practice, but I don't think you need that much of it. And from maths perspective, again, Engage is good. But you can maybe just try to focus more on the, I think, conceptual questions also. Like, need not to solve many lengthy questions right now, because certain concepts are linked with 12th also. So it might be difficult to understand, apply those concepts in 11th. So you need a little bit of more exposure for such questions.
Okay, all right. So these are the materials that you would suggest, for now, right? So let's move to the next question. So what are some tips and best study material for JEE? I mean, for
tips, I personally always believe that now, if you are appearing in your JEE exam next year, that means you're in your 12th, forget about any new topic. It's just not the time. The biggest problem students face is that they try to mug up too much at the end, and then they get all confused in their final exam. Focus on your strengths, focus on your areas which have already bear fruit to you, and just try to strengthen those. So whatever you have practiced well, whatever is pretty much there in your head, would actually give you good marks. Because it's no time to innovate anything new. Like in cricket, as you say, then when a key match comes up, always bank on your instincts and always bank on those shots where you've built a lot of muscle memory. Don't try to experiment too much in the match itself.
All right.
So that way is also during the net practice, focus on your strengths first.
So this is the time to focus on, what you already know and build on it.
Exactly. Second of all, try to avoid calculators. Try to focus more on time-bound practice, speed tests. What exactly is speed test? Like maybe you can set certain unrealistic target of solving 20 questions in 15 minutes.
Okay.
You might end up solving 10. In 10, next 15 minutes, you would have to solve 30 because 10 from the previous left and 20 new one. This ways, if you push yourself for a month or so, you'll end up actually solving 20 questions in those 15 minutes. Okay. It will need some practice. It will need certain consistency. You will get irritated also at times. But if you stick to it and you keep pushing yourself hard, you'll be able to overcome this. So first of all, focus on your strength areas. No need to focus on your weaknesses. Number two, try to avoid calculators, focus on speed calculations, speed tests, Third important point that I would like to focus on, and from chemistry perspective, be very thorough with your NCRTs.
Okay.
As far as JEE Mains is concerned, they ask questions in depth from every single line of NCRT.
Just like, I mean, this is what I'd heard about bio. So for say chemistry,
It's almost the same with chemistry also now. Even the offbeat chapters like chemistry in everyday life, biomolecules, environmental chemistry, all these chapters are getting more weightage now. And even structure-based questions are getting asked. Questions which were never asked before. Even in physics also, you'll see there's more weightage on chapters like modern physics, wave optics, ray optics, thermodynamics in 11th, waves, all these chapters, fluid mechanics for that matter, these chapters get more weightage than what you believe. Even they get more weightage than mechanics also.
Okay.
So that is important to focus on these chapters and if possible, try to read their NCRTs very thoroughly.
Okay. All right. Good. So there's a question from the audience that can you answer how to increase the strength in chemistry?
From chemistry perspective, I personally believe that students tend to overdo a lot. Try to see patterns in questions and always try to stick very thoroughly with NCRTs. Read NCRTs, solve practice, then try to find those answers again in NCRTs if you get stuck.
Okay.
That way, you start finding a lot of confidence in NCRTs. So you'll also try to understand what kind of psychology examiner is facing, basically applying in preparing those papers.
Mm-hmm.
From even advanced perspective, NCRT focus has to be very thorough because you think that as if the questions are not coming from NCRT, but somewhere down the line, those questions would be covered. Those lines would be there in the NCRT itself, and they're beautifully written books, very well structured. So try to focus on that.
Okay, and organic chemistry? I mean,
from JEE Main's perspective, old questions and NCRT should be good. From advanced perspective, definitely we need to go a bit higher. Then you can solve book like Himanshu Pandey because it's a very good repetitive practice where you can apply the same concept multiple times till you become really, I would say, good with them. So you can do that from organic perspective.
Okay, all right. And there's a question that
from best theory books, take my word for that. No need to read any foreign authors now. Atkins, Boyd, Peter Sykes, all these books will not help now because you're almost at the end of your preparation cycle. Instead of that, focus on NCRTs. Seriously, you will find a lot of substance in NCRTs. If you are thorough with certain mechanisms and all, you will enjoy NCRTs like anything. So, because now if you think that you'll read Atkins for physical chemistry, it will not work. Okay. It requires so much of patience and time that you will be all over the place. You'll end up covering hardly 2 or 3 chapters in a significant period of time. Mm-hmm. So it will not be of any use to you. Okay. So NCRTs are concise, very well written books. This is the only book you should be focusing on now. There's no time for anything else now.
Oh, I think students, they've been like ignoring NCRTs for a while, for many years.
No, I tell you this thing very frankly. If you look at the authors who have written the book, you'll automatically understand what depth these books have. Mm-hmm. And once you'll read them again, you'll see that you're able to find almost everything there.
Wow. Nice. So there's a question on this slide that how do I study or inorganic chemistry for JEE? I mean, students, they I think tend to miss out on inorganic as well, and they find it really boring.
From inorganic perspective, what I personally believed is always like if you are finding difficulty in writing, in understanding the reactions, then I have certain tips. First of all, try to see certain patterns in the reactions. Like for example, try to club all the disproportionation reactions together. Try to club all the hydrolysis reactions together. So club them all together and then write them down on a piece of paper. Double sheet would do. Keep it close to you and try to revise it again and again and again and again and again through questions. Okay. So whenever you get stuck with the question, refer to that sheet. Automatically, those reactions will start sticking to your head. If possible, try to solve roadmap problems. Roadmap problems are like reaction is given from A to B to C. You have to find ABC. All those questions really help you a lot in remembering inorganic chemistry.
Okay. That is the key, roadmap problems. And then obviously, again, practicing.
Yes. Yeah. And
there's a question from YouTube that, sir, I'm in 11th, how to manage chemistry because I'm not able to solve questions of chemistry.
What exactly is the problem with chemistry? I think, first of all, if it's physical chemistry, try to build up an approach. Like we are basically living in a Newtonian sciences world. Like our subjects are Newtonian sciences, means unknowns and equations have to match. Like I'll just go through this example again. Try to read a question and try to identify the unknowns in that question first. If, for example, there are two unknowns, then you would know that you need to apply two different equations on them. One equation might come from certain formula, the other might be hidden in that question itself in terms of some constraint. Maybe they're using the word maximum, minimum, all those words are there. Try to deduce important informations out of it. So unknowns and equations, if they match, are able to solve the question. Try to structure those questions in this way in your head. So that ways you'll be able to solve the questions better. From organic inorganic perspective, take my word for that. Write down all the reactions on the double page. Keep it handy. Try to solve the questions by looking at that page again and again. With the passage of time, you'll start understanding, start applying those reactions more and more. This is the best way forward.
Right, right, right.
Where are the previous year questions available? There are books as such, 40 years previous year questions. Arihant publication have that. Disha publication have that. Almost all the major publications have that. Even MTG must be also having it. So all the major publications, they publish these books. 40 years advanced question, 40 years mains questions. Certain books are giving them chapter wise. Certain books are giving them year wise. You can just check and can follow anyone that suits you better. So there are ample books in the market. Even the soft copies are also there on the internet. You can search for them and you can even find them also.
Yeah. Can we find them on the My Classroom app as well?
Not yet. We are planning to. Maybe in a few months' time, that will be there on the app itself.
Okay, all right. And so more question practice or more concept clarity?
Take my word for that. Concept clarity will not happen till the time you practice. So I personally believe that more questions you practice, more clarity you get. If you keep on reading books, theory again and again and again and again, you're not going to end up anywhere. The only way to clear up the concepts are to basically practice them. Then you're able to apply them, able to see the question in a 360-degree manner, and that way you're able to always tell better, like what is the best way forward. So always try to practice, practice, and practice.
I think practice is the key. I think all these webinars, the one thing that always comes up in common, I mean, any topic we're talking about, NEET, JEE, anywhere, but practice is the key. So you can't have shortcuts to success, as they say.
And honestly speaking, you automatically develop certain concepts of theory while practicing. You'll automatically understand that why this worked, why this didn't work. Right. That's the best way forward. Right, because that way you're able to apply them in a lot better way, I would say.
Right. Very true. Very true. So the next question is that does My Classroom provide high quality study material for JEE?
Yes, we are providing amazing content at My Classroom, and along with that, the My Classroom app is now going to become B2C. So there will be an NCRT corner, there will be JEE corner, NEET corner, which will be completely free for the students. Brilliant high quality videos are there covering entire NCRT, entire JEE course, entire JEE advanced course, entire NEET course. So all that will be live on My Classroom app soon. So keep checking for that, and you'll be able to prepare brilliantly with that content. It's been recorded by the best faculties in this country, and it's been tested on a significant number of students, and we have got rave feedbacks, amazing feedbacks, and that is why we are now going live with that free of cost for majority of our students, pan-India.
Nice. So how can I prepare maths for JEE efficiently?
From 11th class perspective or from 12th class perspective? From 12th class perspective, I will still say that no need to experiment anything new now, because now the time is pretty much done. You can only focus on your strengths and can solve previous year questions, solve practice to get more and more methodology into your head, more and more methods into your head, so that you can apply them. If you're in 11th, then always try to give maximum time to maths. 50% time goes to maths, 45% time goes to maths, 30% goes to physics, and 25% goes to chemistry. This should be the split, and try to solve as much as possible. and always try to solve different type of questions in maths. Always challenge. One thing that you can do if you're in 11th class, form a strong peer group of 4 to 5 students and make it a mandatory habit to come up with 5 unique questions every day. So that ways, if you're a group of 4 students, you will get 20 to 15 to 20 new questions every day. And questions should be such that the other child should not be able to solve it. It should be very challenging. So try to form this strong group of 3 to 4 friends and challenge each other by giving 5 unique questions on a daily basis. Because in maths, you need to expose yourself to a lot of variety of questions. Right. So there's so much of possibility, so many different sources are there. So more variety you're exposed to, better the chances of scoring well in the final exams. So from 11th perspective, try to use this technique. It will really work because that ways you'll be pushing your peers and they'll be pushing you. So it'll be a mutual thing and it'll be entertaining also because you'll be always motivated to find unique questions which your friends are not able to solve. Yes. And then you can have the bragging rights that, look, I'm able to give you the solution. Yes. So try to be as innovative as possible with your preparation. Yeah. From 12th perspective, stick to old questions, all practice. That's it. No time to invest in anything new now. Just not possible.
The very important point about peer group, I mean, that, Deepak sir here mentioned. So it is always, when you're working with the group, so your effort is getting many-folded. So if you think that, in the same time you were you are getting exposed to, if you are working with four students, so then 4 times the content that you would have covered in the same time. So that is the benefit again. So, competition is one thing, but working with your peer really helps. And we have seen that with many students, most of the rank holders, they've had a good peer group and they have worked together in getting that rank, and all of them have worked best. So I think take this word from sir and do this. So the next question that we have, there are a lot of questions that are coming from YouTube as well. So what are some best detailed theory books for 11 for self-study? Are there any theory books?
For physical chemistry, I think nothing beyond NCERT would be important if you are able to solve them. From inorganic, you can maybe go for this book, which is JD Lee, but JD Lee along with Sudarshan Gua. So that version of JD Lee, which was revised by Sudarshan Gua, that's a good book because that's more inclined towards JEE Advanced. From organic perspective, Peter Sykes for Mechanisms is a brilliant book. Along with that, I don't think so you need something extra because you can read Morrison Boyd, you can read Fanar, but I don't think so those things help now. Because instead of that, if you'll practice more and more, you'll automatically get to clarify your concepts better.
Right. So, I mean, again,
from physical chemistry, again, Atkins is a brilliant book, but I don't think so. Now the pattern is such that you need to invest so much time into reading.
Right. I think this question we've already covered.
We have already covered, so I think we can skip it.
Yes. What are the benefits of solving previous year questions? I think we've been talking about this.
Yeah, we have already discussed that again.
That, it is... Should I aim for solved practice or unsolved questions during end preparation?
So I'll tell this thing very frankly. जितने भी top students को मैंने पढ़ाया, like NEET में I've scored. My students scored second rank, the best rank that I've got. AIMS me rank 1, JEE Advanced rank 16. So all those students, I have seen one thing very much in common with them, that they always work very hard on the procedures. Like for example, if they start a question and if they go wrong in a solution, they will never check the solution straight away. They will ask step by step from where did they digress, कि कहाँ से उनका solution गलत हुआ. Okay. So that they can understand which concept they're applying in a wrong way. So that way is you need to have a very good structured reference point for you. So if you have good access to faculties who can solve your doubts all the time, which generally is not the case, then always go for solved practice so that whenever you are stuck, after a certain period of time, you can check them. Because earlier, when all the students used to prepare, there hardly used to be 10 questions per paper. Paper used to be subjective. You talk about JEE Advanced. So you have ample time. So the problem solving skill had to be developed in a very different way altogether. Now it's a speed test where you should be able to solve questions on the fly. JEE Advanced is almost 20 questions per hour. Mains is 30 questions per hour. So that's tremendous speed you need. For that, you need to have more and more exposure to different types of procedures, how to solve a question a certain way. So that's why you need to have access to a lot of solved practice, which you can try for a couple of minutes, maybe 3-4 minutes. If you get stuck, you should be able to refer to the solutions. Solutions देखना कोई पाप नहीं होता, ये चीज याद रखो. सबसे important चीज है कि तुम्हारे दिमाग में एक मेथड बनना चाहिए, which then you are able to apply in future. क्योंकि हम एक जंग लड़ रहे हैं, एग्जाम की तैयारी कर रहे हैं, जिसमें बाकी लोग हमारे साथ compete कर रहे हैं. So if we just sit on our laurels thinking कि यार हमें तो कोई दिव्य दृष्टि आएगी और सब कुछ हमारे दिमाग में डाल देगी, तो it is not going to work like that. Yeah. So you have to find your own ways very smartly. Yeah. Building a structure, core structure of your preparation.
Yeah, so important is ऐसा नहीं कि मतलब कर रहे हो solve नहीं हो रहा और बस बैठ गए हो. So looking at the solution is important once, because but you should have tried enough and you know that yes, I know where I am faltering. Getting the right answer, then you can always refer to the solved questions, solved answers, because ultimate goal is कि वो concept समझ आना चाहिए. जो question गलत कर रहे हो वो दोबारा गलत ना हो. That is the key. That is when the improvement is
all
happening.
The JEE exams, JEE Main, JEE Advanced, I think they're overhyped exams. They're not that tough. They are tough, no doubt about it. But there is a pattern to it. There's a way to solve those papers. There's a way to score well in those papers, and you have to crack that. You have to focus on that, which is important. So the pattern is that you have to basically see what type of questions have been asked previously. So JEE Advanced, for that matter, always follows this rejection policy. They will not ask things which have been asked in the last 3-4 years, but then every IIT have their particular set of questions that they're favorite, and they'll keep on asking. One important thing that you can actually check is when you're preparing for JEE Advanced, try to go through the subjective problems of 1990s to early 2000s. Okay. So you don't have to solve those papers, just go through them as solved practice so that you get to see what exactly methodologies, shortcuts, methods have been used in those questions. Because I've seen that JEE Advanced, certain times a certain question is given as a proof in all these papers, get asked as a question in the coming years. Okay. So the theory from JEE Advanced perspective itself lies in the solved old papers from 90s and early 2000s. So all those papers cover all the extra topics which get asked in JEE Advanced now.
All right. So
in those 10-15 years of paper, you get so much of content. Director circle, all those important boundary conditions of waves, all those things. Beta keto acids, heating, giving decarboxylation. Every single thing is explained in detail in those objective papers. And you can build your theory by basically going through those questions.
Wow, this is a great insight. I think not many of you would be knowing this. This comes from experience, obviously. It's been that you should refer to this time span where the JEE Advanced was happening.
One student has asked that how long I should work in a day. I would say as much time as you have. Look, students, you are basically fighting against the rest of the country. Mm-hmm. There are students who start very early. Early means at a very young age. There are students who are very hardworking, students who are very intelligent. So there's a mixed breed of things. Like there are people with different skill sets. So if you don't upgrade yourself, you will not be able to compete with them. So if you're preparing for this exam, it should be a single sole focus, and it should get your 100% attention. That whatever time that you have, barring the time you're sleeping, eating, maybe attending your classes, should go into your studies. At least for next 1.5 years that you have at your disposal. You should be able to give your best in this period. Okay. Yes. And I don't think so there is any mool mantra that 6 hours would do, 7 hours would do. It depends from child to child.
Yes.
So that's why you should be giving your best. Whatever time you have, just put it into your preparation, because it's worth trying getting into these exams, because end of the day you cannot escape it. अगले 1.5 साल तो यही करना है. So why not give our best?
Very true. There is no escaping this fact ki, because students come to us if 3 घंटे पढ़ना enough है या 6 घंटे पढ़ना enough है या 9 घंटे पढ़ना enough है. There's nothing like that. So हर बच्चे का अपना एक style है.
Simple सी चीज है बच्चों. When you are relaxing, your competition is not relaxing.
Yes.
So maybe they are moving miles ahead of you in that period. So you have to be awake. You have to be on your toes for at least next 1.5 years that you have.
Very true, very true. There is no set number of hours that we have that इतने घंटे पढ़ लोगे तो हो जाएगा या नहीं पढ़ोगे तो नहीं.
Doesn't work like that.
Yes, exactly. So that is, I mean, those were the questions that we had. And I think, we've pretty much covered most of the questions. There was one question I think that came from YouTube, is that how to get the basics right, for JEE mains. So,
From basics perspective, what I personally feel, I'll just go through the subject. Like, if you're struggling with basics, first of all, don't focus on the fancy chapters anymore. Like, from physics perspective, don't focus on mechanics. It
mhm.
might sound awkward, but take my word for that, mechanics is not that frequently asked, and very trendy questions are asked, and we end up practicing a lot, giving a lot of time to mechanics. So instead of that, focus on chapters like waves, thermo, modern physics, wave optics, ray optics. Straight away, straightforward formula-based questions will come from these chapters, and chances of scoring better in these chapters are there. From chemistry perspective, I don't think so. There's anything better than NCRTs from basics perspective. No doubt, NCRT is not that detailed in the theory, so you can refer to any basic theory book that you're using for your school exams. It should good enough. But once you are thorough with your theory, once you're done with that, don't try to capture the entire chapter in one go. Don't read the entire chapter in one go. Read a section, try to apply that through certain solid examples, and then move ahead.
Okay.
Solid examples doesn't mean that it has to be that examples at the end of the exercise. It can be an unsolved practice, but with solutions.
Okay.
So try to read a small section, try to take help from the video solutions, video lectures that you have, and then try to practice that section and then move ahead. So this ways you'll start building the foundation in a very good way. And don't try too many difficult questions because they will not help you in boosting your confidence, especially when you're focusing on your basics.
Okay.
So read a section. If you want to see certain video lectures in that section, do that also. Try simple questions, solved questions, so that if you get stuck, you're able to see the solution and then move to the next section. So this is the way you should structure block-wise block.
Mhm.
And then once the entire chapter is comprehensively prepared, only then try the previous year questions where the multi-concept questions are there.
Okay. Yeah, because then also, I mean, there are concepts that are interrelated, and there are questions that come from like two concepts in a question and all at times. So practice can only make you understand those questions, or how to apply those concepts. So just last question that we can take is that, please tell anything about 2023 aspirants, that is class 12th, who are appearing now for the JEE mains. I think we've covered that.
Students, I'll tell you one thing very frankly. If you're not very unlucky that your first attempt is on the day one itself, then be very attentive about the attempts happening in that particular year. Like, for example, if your attempt is on third day, be very thorough with whatever papers come in first attempt and second attempt or third or fourth attempt. How many attempts are happening before you? You should be very thorough. Because what exactly JEE Mains does, the pattern of questions almost remain the same. Only the difficulty level keeps on increasing, but they tend to give you quite a decent hint that what exactly they'll be asking that year. That is why generally the first attempt is very simple and the coming attempts become harder because you are more familiar with the type of question that are getting asked.
All right.
So if a structure-based question has been asked, then you will understand that chemistry in every life structure-based questions are coming. So that way you get a decent hint like how to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
So that way, and then always try to solve the NTA practice that is there on the website.
Okay.
Or also, I think they have their app also, so they give a lot of sample practice. So try to solve the latest sample practice because I remember in 2020 there was a student in NEET who got exactly the same question which she had attempted a couple of days back, and these incidents happen pretty frequently. So you get a very good hang of it, what exactly NT is asking. Okay. Because in JEE Mains, you have to understand one thing very clearly. There are roughly 12 papers to even more papers that JEE Mains have to prepare. Mm-hmm. Preparing so many papers of equal consistency is just not possible. So they end up revealing a lot of hints. They end up repeating a lot of concepts. Mm-hmm. So always be on a lookout for that. Try to solve 2019, 20, 21, 22 papers because last 3-4 years paper will give you a pattern like what exactly NTA is asking. Mm-hmm. And also be thorough with whatever attempts which would have passed by the time you appear for your exam. Right. Because they give you good hints. They give you a very good idea about what exactly has been getting asked that year.
So very important to have, those friends attempting before you so that you
and in chemistry, I'll tell you one thing very frankly, offbeat chapters which were never asked 6-7 years back are getting asked maybe frequently. Because in chemistry, they're pretty much exhausted as far as generic chapters are concerned. So they're focusing more on the offbeat chapters like chemistry in everyday life, environmental chemistry, and all these chapters, biomolecules for that matter, all these chapters students tend to ignore, thinking that nothing much would be asked. And they end up doing really badly due to that. And they are more scoring chapters because majority of the times finding new questions in these chapters are very difficult. So if you'll go through NCRT Exemplar and all these simple books also, you'll get a hang of it, like what exactly is the variety of questions that can be asked from these chapters. So be very thorough with them, very thorough with them.
Okay, I think very important point that we've covered right now, right? That, you have to keep an eye on all the attempts that are happening, all these slots that are getting done before your slot, and also previous year question. We've been talking about that, I think, a lot in today's webinar as well, in all the other webinars that we've had, that taking care of and attempting all the previous year question papers is very important. And in fact, our my classroom learning app is also hosting a lot of PYQs, so that will be shortly live in the app as well, so you can download that and sign up, and then start using it. So that will also help you. So I think we've covered all the questions that were there. We all that came in, and so any last closing remarks that you would want to say or tell the students who are going for their JEE Main
What
exam?
I have experienced, JEE Advanced and Mains are overhyped papers, to be honest, and students tend to create a lot of hype out of nothing. Very simple papers, 50% पेपर तो बहुत ही मजाक आता है दोनों में. अगर तुम उन इजी क्वेश्चंस को आइडेंटिफाई करके करना सीख गए ना, यू विल डू वेल. बहुत होते हैं 50% मार्क्स. एनीथिंग अबव दैट इज बोनस. इवन विद जेईई एडवांस 50% में टॉप 500 रैंक आ जाता है.
Okay.
So solving simple easy questions, you can end up with IITs also. And but students get fascinated by those difficult out of the box questions, and they spend so much energy and time, because from coaching institution perspective they have to sell themselves. So they have to say that, look, we are giving something extra, something unique, something different to you, and they've spoiled the entire market. Otherwise papers are very simple, very generic, very simple concept based papers, testing your IQ, testing your problem solving skill, application part, that's it. And if you're thorough with your concepts, thorough means if even if you've read your NCRT thoroughly, you've practiced old questions, you've practiced a little bit of solved practice, you should be good enough.
Okay.
And because we end up spending so much energy on things which are irrelevant, and things which hardly like cover 2 or 3% of the paper. Like if you'll analyze the paper, you will see that for those 2 to 3 to 5% of the marks, you spend almost 80% of your preparation time. So and for the important part, 60-70% part, hardly 20%. So this is why majority of the students fail, even after putting in so much of effort.
So so now you got an answer to, मैं तो बहुत पढ़ाई करता था, I was spending so many hours in a day, and I was covering all the concepts well, but still I could not score well. So, all these exams, competitive exam, NEET or JEE, they are not only a work of labor or work of hard work. There's a lot of smart work that is required, and that is why we are keeping this webinar series, so that we can help you do this smart work. Our mentors come in live most like alternate Saturdays to help you grab those things, and give you certain tips that can come handy, and help you in preparing well for these exams. So thank you so much everyone for joining us. We have
we have periodic tests. There's an AITS going on in my classroom, and it is there.
There was a question that, do my classroom periodic test question match JEE Main difficulty, sir? So yes, they are designed by all the mentors who've been guiding students for so many years, so they're taking care of all these things. So follow the test series that is there, and all the tests that happen, take them very seriously, do the practice, do the analysis, analyzing your performance, analyzing your test. Again, we'll focus on that is very important. So I think we've covered all the questions that we'd had, and it pretty much covers what you need to study at this point. So thank you so much, Deepak sir.
Thank you. Thanks a lot for giving your time,
guiding us,
and really looking forward to these sessions again.
Yeah, and all the best everyone. do well in your exams. And anything, any queries you have, just feel free to follow our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, our Instagram page. You can put your queries there, and our team would be uh, there to answer the queries as soon as it is possible. So thank you, have a great weekend, and keep studying, and we'll see you again alternate Saturdays 7 p.m.